every business at some point in time gets to a point of growth where it needs additional funding to prosecute that growth. And probably also know that every fund comes at a cost, whether it's debt equity or whether it's equity, pure equity. And the saying is that pure equity is more expensive than debt equity. It doesn't seem so in the beginning because you see pure equity as money that you are not paying for immediately. On the other hand, debt has an interest component, and once you service the interest, then you are free. You can pay off the debt and you are free. And the person that gave you that fund does not own a part of your company. And I think that's why it is more expensive to go for equity than debt. However, on a long-term basis, equity suits a long-term investment in the company. And we thought at the point that we talked to a venture capital company that we had gotten to that point where we want to take the business to the next level. But taking it to the next level, funding was one part of it. But beyond funding, we also were looking at having ideas as the other part of it. Ideas that will, maybe opportunities we're missing out which we are not taking advantage of, which we could be pointed out in that direction. We're also looking at maybe efficiencies that were not in our system, or maybe systems that we could put in that could save us money. And therefore, we're not going to the investment company just for the cash funds. These are some of the things that we're going for. Beyond all that, we're also looking at leveraging of the brand equity of the investment company or investing company. People to say that if this company sees value in computer warehouse to invest in computer warehouse, then definitely there's something in computer warehouse. So at the time that we're going to go public, it will probably multiply the value that we'll get from the IPO. The reason why we did not eventually take the funding from this particular investment company was because the brand equity we didn't think was much higher than what we had in the market, and therefore in terms of leveraging there wasn't such a huge delta that we could leverage off. To be said, for the company, it's an international reputation company, it's a global company, so the brand equity was there, but that shows that in our local environment we also had a very strong brand equity, number one. Number two, there was no direct relationship to the other things which we're looking for in terms of the ideas part of it, the direction part of it, the next technology that we could go into part of it. So the father figure, sort of, which we're looking for, was we didn't see a deep trace in that company. And we thought that perhaps they had other companies which they had invested in, which were doing a kind of business where we could have probably cross-posting of leaders, directors, but there wasn't very much done in the IT line. And then the third thing was, if it was just going to be for the money, then we were not in a tight place. In other words, we're far from desperate. We had just had waves of opportunities, such as the Y2K, we've had the bank consolidation, we had the telecoms boom, and all these areas would gone in very strongly and therefore generated a lot of cash from operations. So we're sitting in a good place, cash-wise. And so there was not a very compelling reason to take that expensive or relative expensive funding when we could finance our businesses from debt cash, which we didn't even take so much off because we had our own cash. Having said that, I think posterity will judge whether we have taken the right decision or not. But so far, we think we're on the right track, and we've come this far without that fund, and I believe we're going to go to the IPO directly. The revenue has continually gone up. Since 2004, to give you some idea of numbers, The first time that we were spoken to by a venture capital company, not this particular one, which is the latest one which we spoke to, but the one previous to that, we're looking at the figures that were put on the table was about $12 million for the whole of the computer warehouse group. And when this latest one came up, the valuation was somewhere around $30 million for the whole computer warehouse group. But as I speak with you today, we've gotten well, I won't say it's casting, it's written on paper somewhere, but the valuation for one of our business, which is our communication business, for $32 million. So with the benefit of hindsight, I think that we have created the value that we sought to create. If we cast our mind back, if we had taken in the funds that we wanted to take at $30 million, let's say we took 25%, I'm not sure my math is right, but maybe to come to about maybe $8 million. Now, today, where the company is worth $90 million, you see that the value that has gone to pay for that $8 million which we took is going to be 25% of $90 million, which is 90 divided by 4, maybe about $23 million. So the delta that has gone to this venture capital company will be 23 minus 8, which will be about 24 minus 8 is 16, maybe $15 million. On the other hand, if I'd taken a loan for $8 million over the same period of time at our prevailing interest rate of 20%, it's very much less than that, and I still have the value of my full company. So I think venture capital money is useful, but it's useful to companies which are in a growth phase but don't have opportunity for cash. Maybe they are overborrowed from the bank. And it's also good when the investing company has some value added beyond the cash which they're going to bring in. Well, I believe there are two ways by which you can run a company. I believe you can run a company paternalistically, which says to people that, listen, don't worry, I know what I'm doing, just do what I tell you to do and do it in the way that I want you to do it. Or you can run a company openly by saying to people, well, this is the vision, these are the available resources, and then give them the opportunity to go for it. If you give people that big picture, what happens is that they also take accountability and responsibility. The downside or the perceived disadvantage is that you open yourself too wide so people know exactly what your trade secrets are. They know your financials, they can disclose outside. And I'm saying, well, I'm not so bothered about that, because in any case, the speed of the internet and blogs and Facebook and whatever you think in your head is already out in the public domain, but it's a combination of what these trade secrets are and the culture of people driving it that makes the success. So it's not one without the other. So we've chosen to go the route of the big picture, sharing the big picture with the people we bring in. The people we bring in are a certain type of people. They must be entrepreneurial spirited. What we have done to retain them is to give them the opportunity to take decisions and be responsible for those decisions which they like very much. And they feel that they are creating value, they belong to something special. And we have also, for everybody in the group, giving them an opportunity to determine how much they're going to earn by breaking the remuneration into fixed and variable. So variable, let's say, for instance, your variable salary is 1% of your sales. You can decide, well, I want to make $2 million. Fine, to make $2 million, you have to sell $200 million. Go sell $200 million and here's a $2 million. So people are happy to see that there's no cap on what they can earn, and they do earn a lot from their variable remuneration. In addition to that, to give them a sense of ownership, a sense of partnership, we have a situation where if you've been in a company for 5 years and you're a manager, you get to own options. It's not a physical share, but when we declare the dividend, there is a portion that goes to the staff apart from the shareholders. and those in that club, it's a prestige club more than anything else. Computer warehouse strategy is to win at the turns. If I can borrow from, I think I heard this first from Nandan Lekani of Infosys, to win at the turns. And the strategy of winning at the turns is, if you picture a racetrack, you see that on a straight road, there is very little competitive advantage because everybody is hitting the accelerator hard. But when you get to the turn, you find that a lot of drivers tend to slow down because few people want to have a somersault. But if you can calculate your displacement and your steering control, you can accelerate into the turn. So whilst everybody is slowing down, you are accelerating. And that is our strategy, to quickly learn about what is going to happen or anticipate. For instance, if I give you an example, payment systems. We knew that it's only a matter of time that we're going to devolve from a cash economy to a plastic card economy. Now, plastic card needs ATMs and it needs point of sales terminals. So right at that turn, where we're going to make the turn into payment system, we are right ahead. We are entrenched into ATM systems, and we are very strongly positioned for point of sales terminals. And the technology, the software technology that goes into that working, such as programming the ATM to do adverts for the banks that have deployed the ATM as a value-added service, or even programming it for bills payments and bill presentment, and such anticipation of what is going to happen, even though it's generic technology that is coming out, and position ourselves to value add to that, puts us in a different category. The one major challenge is human capital. And human capital is deeply dependent on the education system in the country, or the non-education system, as the case may be. We do not have a very developed or mature education system, especially at the primary and then the secondary level. So the material that is going into the tertiary is what is there. It's not very good, so to speak. I mean, you have couples or pockets of private primary and secondary schools are doing a fantastic job, but given the population, they're too small to make that impact. The majority, which is available for everybody to go to, not just elite, is not that good. I think they're trying to work on that, but it's going to take some time. So the product that is coming out from the tertiary is very few, and plus the fact that we've had economic boom, many companies coming in, FDIs, foreign direct investment. So a demand and supply situation is created where the demand is much more than the supply. So human capital, and then when you have that situation, it affects the attitude, because now mediocrity becomes celebrated. And when mediocrity becomes celebrated, then you don't get to that point of excellence where you are getting your inspiration from. And sometimes it also disrupts continuity. You are working on developing somebody to fill a particular role in a unique manner, and midway through that development is being for trainings and so on, he's gone. Then you have to start all over again. So human capital is a big challenge. I know that Nigerians in diaspora are coming back home because we are now in a democratic government, but it's still a drop in the ocean of what is really required in terms of the skills. Other challenges are infrastructure. There's a lack of basic infrastructure such as electric power. So each person is running his own local government. You generate your power, you have a borehole for your water. And the commute time to even do so much in a day, commute time is so long that it affects your productivity during the day. You can barely make 3 meetings. So these challenges, a lot of them are the macro. But if you ask me, the micro challenges are the ones I focus on. The macro affects everybody, so we are all existing in it. But the micro challenge, the fact that we're a good company, for me is a fearful situation, because people tend to settle into their comfort zones. It's the simile is like living in a town where every other house is a bungalow and you are in a one-story building. but your aspiration is to build a skyscraper, chances are that you're going to look around and say, oh, but I have the tallest building in town, and so there's no need for me to put in any more. I can sit back and relax. But you haven't achieved your aim of building a skyscraper. So my worry is I don't want to get us to get into a situation where we're no longer hungry, and therefore we don't feel the need to create and recreate at the extent at which we have been doing.